Hello! I just started filming and hadn't adjusted the camera, so I'm gonna adjust the camera. I mean, I don't think it's better, but you know, I'm more or less sick watching me. If you're wondering what's the outside doing inside, we've got a tent for Eloise's birthday, and that's it. It's been inside, the kids have been playing inside it, but now that the sun has come back out again, I think I'm going to move outside so they can play in the garden in it. This week has been a tough week. I kind of, well, actually, no, I didn't really expect it to be. I was going to say I expected it to be, but I didn't, particularly. Eloise turned 3 on Monday. It's now Thursday. And since about Saturday, maybe Friday last week, I haven't been feeling great emotionally. Now, when Eloise, obviously when she was born, it was traumatic, as I have discussed in previous videos. And on her first birthday, I had a really hard time that week. I found it really difficult, relived a lot of what had happened, got very emotional thinking about a lot of it. And it was the same when she was 2 as well. But I don't know, I think because, I've been off the antidepressants for not quite 2 months yet, but I've been off them for, a good number of weeks now. And I'm starting to feel really stable, starting to feel really good. Obviously I still have my bad days like any normal person would. But I've generally been feeling pretty good. So I kind of thought that, probably very naively, that I really wouldn't be affected by her birthday this year, or that it wouldn't really, or if I was affected, it would be like quite minor. And in a way, I think if anyone was looking in, they wouldn't know that anything was going on, anything was bothering me, or that I was in pain in any way. Not exactly because I've been covering it up either. It's just that I think it's been less noticeable. I don't know. It's really hard to explain. It's sort of like I didn't even realize it was happening, and then I just sort of noticed. Yeah, like I say, Friday, Saturday last week, that my head didn't feel quite right. I didn't feel quite in the moment. I felt like maybe like part of my brain was working away at something that wasn't anything to do with what was actually going on in front of me. The tasks that were in front of me. My brain was busy elsewhere, which meant that I was really struggling to cope with the things that actually were happening in the real world and the physical world. And on Saturday, Nick was in a bit of a, well, he was in a bad mood, but he also didn't feel particularly well. And I needed him to really take care of the kids so that I could make her birthday cake, because we had a party on Sunday. So I had to make her birthday cake, which took so long on Saturday. And do a few other things in preparation for the party, like go to the supermarket to get food and blah, blah, blah. So I did all of that. So I was kind of busy, and my head was very busy with all of that. But at the same time, I was struggling to deal with all of that because I was also seemingly working on something else in the back of my mind. And so I just wasn't there for Nick. I didn't sort of give him the support he needed. And part of me, certainly at the time, was like, you're an adult, okay? Take care of yourself right now. Which I feel bad about, but that is the thought that crossed my mind. But he was in a bad place, and he needed support, and I wasn't able to give it to him at the time that he needed it. We sorted it out later, but it wasn't a great day from that point of view. And then the party on Sunday was good, but again, I just felt separate. Like I felt, like when you've got a cold and you don't feel like you're quite in the room, like you're kind of sort of distant and everything's sort of happening around you. That's kind of how I've been feeling, but without the cold. And then Monday was her actual birthday, and so Nick was at work, Rufus was at school, and so Eloise and I went out for lunch together. and we had a really nice time. But again, I just didn't feel like I was able to fully enjoy the day. It just felt a little bit, I don't know, it just kind of feels like you're not quite there. Um, and yeah, I've just been feeling more and more like I'm retreating inside of myself. And finally, yesterday, I realized I needed to go get a blood test. I have hypothyroidism, so when you're pregnant, you have to have quite a few blood tests. You have to be monitored by a consultant. You have to make sure that your levels are stable. So I needed to go get a blood test. I'd left it to the last minute, mainly because I'm an idiot, but also because my whole schedule is busy all the time between the kids and Nick and general house stuff, which as you can see has kind of fallen to the wayside this week. So I kind of yeah, I needed to go get it done. And the people at the clinic weren't exactly unhelpful, but they certainly weren't helpful. And I wasn't able to get it done, and it was really frustrating. And they were saying the only place you can go get it done is at the hospital with this particular form that you have. But that means, a good, so it's like an hour round trip in the car when you account for the traffic. And then you have to pay for parking, and then you have to search the largest hospital in the known universe to find a clinic. Because it doesn't seem to matter how many times you go, you will always park in the wrong car park for the clinic that you need, even if you look at the map before you go. I don't know how I do it. Partly it's because parking is limited, so you just have to take what you can get. But so all of that was just sort of not, it just wasn't what I wanted to hear. And I came out of that clinic and I just burst into tears, and I ran into a mum friend of mine who's amazing and I love her. But I ran into her and I just sort of ended up crying on her shoulder, which is never a great feeling to do that. I'm not someone who enjoys leaning on other people, or sort of requiring other people to keep me going. And it just so happened that Nick was working from home yesterday and he had a doctor's appointment in the morning, and he sort of approached at that moment and was a bit like, what's going on? And then I just spent the rest of the day crying over various things that didn't deserve the level of emotion that I was giving them. But the thing is that I'm not crying over those things. I'm crying about something that my mind has been processing and working through for a week. And I have finally started to actually let the emotion out. And then I was talking to Nick in the evening about something, again, to do with him and not to do with me, but we were discussing it, and I was saying how, sometimes having a label on an illness or a disorder or on just a way of being, having the label gives you a point of reference or a focus to, or a jumping off point for seeking the right treatment, or just giving you the comfort that you know what's happening with you, you know what's wrong. And I was saying, that this week, sort of now that I've thought about it, has been a really difficult week, has been a really emotional week. But the one thing that does give me comfort is I know why. I know why I am struggling. I know why it hurts. I know why my brain is busy working on something else that I can't quite get to. And it's because of a trauma that I experienced 3 years ago. And having that knowledge, whilst it doesn't stop it from happening, it doesn't necessarily even make it better or make it easier to process, but it does give you something to do with it, So then, as soon as I realized that was what was going on, I was on the Birth Trauma Association group again, and I was just putting out, putting my hand out, asking for a little bit of support, and reading other people's posts, so I gained some perspective and to gain some advice on how I was going to get through the week. And it also meant that I could be a bit more compassionate to myself when I overreacted to things, which is what I tend to do when I'm processing one thing. I tend to sort of put what the emotions that should be applied to that, I tend to put on other things. So, for example, this morning the kids I had these felt tip pens and they had drawn all over their pajamas. It's not the biggest thing, it's not the end of the world, but it is annoying because now I've got to figure out if they're going to get cleaned. I don't know if they're going to wash out, and fingers crossed they will because they're nice pajamas. I don't want to have to just. But it was just really frustrating, and I just needed to get them ready for school, and it was the last thing I needed this morning, and I lost my temper, and I mean, yes, they deserve to be told off because they shouldn't be drawing on their clothes, they shouldn't be drawing on their furniture. But at the same time, the level of anger I got to was too much. And it wasn't fair, and it's not fair on them, and it's not fair on me either. And, after we'd all calmed down again, I did apologise. I did make sure that they were aware that I knew that I had overreacted, but that they still shouldn't behave that way. I made the whole thing very clear, and I always try to do that. I always try to be really fair to them, and let them know when I've got it wrong, because I'm human too. They need to know that it's okay that adults get it wrong sometimes, as long as they own up to it and they try to do better next time. So I did own up to it, but it doesn't feel great. I feel rubbish now. I feel like a really bad mum. I know I'm not. Well, I don't think I am, but I feel like I am. And that's what these emotions do to me, and that's really difficult. It's really, really difficult, and I think especially being a parent, you're forever filled with guilt that you're never doing the right thing, or you're never doing as well by your kids as you would want to. But it is made worse when these kind of things crop up. So, I mean, hopefully I'll try and talk to Nick about it a bit more tonight, about how I'm feeling, what my head's doing, and hopefully in the next few days we can see me reverting back to how I have been feeling. That'd be nice. We'll see. Fingers crossed. That the kids would appreciate it. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say, really. It's amazing how these things can haunt you, for lack of a better description. Alright, well, that's it for now. I hope you're okay. If you want to hear more about the adventures inside my mind, then please subscribe and click the like button so that I know you're enjoying them, and click the bell notifications so that you can find out when I post videos. I'm trying to do one a week about the pregnancy. It's not always going to work, but sometimes I will make up for it and do 2 the following week. So you never know what you're going to get. But until next time, have a lovely time. Bye.